gaze boring into Irene from his rear-facing seat, through the dust motes swirling between them in the merciless southwest sunlight. He cocked his head almost imperceptibly. What's going on? Look. Irene shrugged, willing her face to relax into some facsimile of composure. Barney's massive frame suddenly filled the aisle beside them. "Ladies," he said, reptilian eyes scanning the landscape of their bodies. "And gentlemen." His gaze went dull as it took in Henry, the lowest paid among them. Irene knew it was more than that. It was jealousy. Henry's good looks were made for photographs. Thick dark hair and large brown eyes set off by pale, unblemished skin. A study in contrasts. All the girls loved Henry. Their well-mannered rascal. None of them loved Barney, Mr. Chandler's right-hand man, as he liked to say. Right-hand hatchet man, they whispered privately. Irene had seen him take a girl by the hair and hit her till she dropped like a sack of laundry. "Why are your bags under the seat?" he demanded. "Ought to be in the baggage car." Irene sighed, feigning mild annoyance. "No room." "We don't mind," said Millie. "Makes it easier to put our feet up." She set the heel of her T-strap pump onto the protruding case and crossed the other leg over, her dress slipping up above her knee. Her blue eyes went coy as she tugged the thin cotton fabric of her dress down a little, the lacy edge of her slip still perfectly visible. Barney's eyes took in that distant shoreline. A scurvy sailor hungry for a decent meal. "Tickets?" said Irene. "Now, don't go and lose them." Barney tugged them out of the pocket of his vest, spotted with whatever meal he'd last eaten. Something with gravy, it looked like. When Millie reached for hers, he pulled his hand back. "You gonna lose it?" he said. "Course you are. Ain't got the sense God give a goat." Irene froze. If he held Millie's ticket, what would they do? She couldn't leave Millie behind now that she'd promised to take her. Gone soft already, she chided herself. And she was barely 21. Uncharacteristically, she'd felt a strange need for company. Well, you'll have company now, won't you? All the way to hell. Millie tittered stupidly, even for Millie. "Give it to Irene to hold for me, then," she said. "She never lost a thing in her life." Barney handed over the tickets, and Irene had to keep her fingers from gripping them too tightly. Before moving on to the next row of young girls in his herd, the huge man tossed another ticket at Henry, who had to snatch it from the air before it fell to his feet. He was still eyeing Irene, and she gave him a sharp look. He glanced away, sufficiently cowed, and fiddled with the strap of his rucksack, which she knew held only a few personal items and a tattered notebook of jokes, mostly bad ones, if his comedy act was any indication. There it was, the faint shushing sound Irene had been dreaming of and fretting about for weeks. The engine ground into gear, and she counted, just as she had at the last stop and the one before that, to get the timing down. Timing was everything in life. She'd learned that early on. 13, 14, 15... As the engine strained to move countless tons of steel, the red sandstone of the Flagstaff, Arizona train depot seemed to shudder in her view. The conductor stood at the other end of the car, scolding the porter. Irene could barely hear him over the groaning of the engine. "Under their seats! Supposed to be in baggage!" He was shrunken and white-haired with a mustache that trailed down off his jowls like curtain poles. He glared up at the young black man who shook his head. In truthful innocence, Irene knew. She herself had told him the baggage porter said the car was full and they should stow their suitcases beneath them. The conductor poked the young man's chest now and motioned for him to get the cases. The wheels hadn't begun to turn yet. Something was holding up the train, and if they left too soon, Mr. Chandler would send Barney after them.